Hi, everybody. Carla and
Jade here. Hello.
hi. Welcome back for Canva 101. And we're already on lesson 3. And we're super excited to be here again today just to share with you guys a little bit of the information we know about Canva. I know I've been using it more and more all the time to create posts, to create my thumbnails for my StreamYard videos that I'm doing, different things like that. And today, Jade is going to take us on discovery of text, sizing, color, font, text boxes, and more. So we're going to go ahead and share your screen, and then you can go ahead and tell us what you know about all these wonderful things.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't realize I got to, this is my screen that we're...
Yeah, this is your screen.
Okay. So
you're doing the driving today.
Yes, I didn't. Okay. I understand that I'm doing the driving. I didn't know that it would look like this to me. So I just go ahead and click onto my Canva home screen then?
Yeah, just go to your Canva home screen.
I see, and then I'll disappear from this. I got it. Okay, so thanks for bearing with me, guys. This is all very new. So I thought today that I would just kind of go through the real basics of things so that you know, that you're not afraid to get started, because there's a lot of things that can be overwhelming. There's a lot of words, there's a lot of, and it can be a little bit overwhelming to know where and how to get started. And so, that can really be limiting. So we're just going to go through some really basic stuff today.
So I just wanted to back up a little bit on that too and talk about our 2 previous videos. The first one kind of covered the basics, how to make a Facebook post. Then our second one talked about how to create a story. And now we're going to go a little more into depth about, you know, text and get a little more targeted specific on our topics. So perfect.
Right. Yeah, like on exactly how you do some of these things. And we're going to just slow it down and break it down for you. So Carla's we've already covered this in previous ones, but just to go over again, I think it's really important to just look at where we're starting at. And just in case it was too quick for anybody or they missed it and they're looking at this screen and they don't know where to start, I'd just like to point out again the 3 different places that you can start the creating process. So over in this area here in the top right-hand corner, you can see there's this button that says Create a Design. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then you get this nice drop-down tab that you can scroll through and select a whole bunch of different things that are suggested for you. So if you know specifically what you're looking for, this is a quick way to get to it. But I'd also like to draw your attention to this little box here in case you haven't noticed it before. It says Custom Dimensions. So there are times, like if you're submitting something to a magazine or just there's different reasons that you might want a specific size. And rather than looking through the Create a Design option, that can really leave you going, I just need something exactly this size. So if you need something and you know exactly what size it is, you're going to want to know about this Custom Dimensions. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that so you can see what it looks like. So in Custom Dimensions, if you come over here to this little drop-down box, it will give you the option of selecting whether you want your custom design to be in pixels, inches, millimeters, or centimeters. So let's say, you know, something that you're submitting, they require it to be in a certain 800 by 800 pixels, let's say. So you could go ahead and enter that there. So the other way to start creating is if you have a general idea of what you want to create, but you still are kind of unsure of how to get started, this search bar down here can be a really nice option, and I'm going to show you why. So let's say I generally would like to create a card, but I don't really know what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to type in card, and again, I have a whole bunch of things that come up. The nice thing about this search bar here is if I go ahead and click on a card that's, let's say, 7 by 5 card, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It gives me the option of starting with that size as a blank one, but this here I just wanted to show you because this is a really nice way to quickly get a visual on all of the different templates. So this is a really nice, again, a really nice starting point. So this gives you a way to look on your screen and just visually scan through some different ideas. Any one of these templates can be modified. And I know we are going to be talking about text. So
yeah,
are you worried that I'm getting off topic?
Know that, oftentimes what people would be using in their marketing, maybe for their business, is the Facebook post or your Instagram post. And in there too, you can find these same sort of templates, right?
Yes, there are templates available in a lot of different areas. So this is, again, just to help you get started. And this way here in particular is a nice way to be able to get an overview of a lot of different templates all on one screen. So that, yeah, you'll see when we get into the actual designing, there's other ways to look at templates. This is a way to look at a large selection of templates all on one screen at one time before you get into your designing. And sometimes that can be really helpful as a starting point. So then
I love using those too sometimes, because I may be thinking in my head, okay, how would I go about doing that? And then I'll see one in the templates and I go, oh yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. And then I can change it up the way I want it to look.
Exactly. So sometimes, so it's kind of like, this is the idea of like, if you're just going to be, looking through a magazine for ideas, this is the best way to go about that. If you're designing something, but you have no clue where to get started, and you just have a sense of like, well, I need to make a card, but I have no idea where to go from there. Type in what you plan on designing. And then this gives you the option of looking through a lot of templates really quickly.
So if you're going to use one today, can you use a Facebook post? So that's something that's relative to what a lot of people would be wanting to use their Canva program for?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can do Facebook posts. So then the third way is, again, there's, so this was the second way. The third way is to come down to here. And again, you're going to see over here on the right-hand side is this custom dimensions. So it's exactly the same as what I showed you previously up at the top. But you can also click on that and you get the same option, the drop-down options where you can choose pixels, inches, millimeters, and centimeters if you're looking to do a custom design.
That's really cool information to know, because, yeah, even for myself, I had no idea that was an option. And you're right, when you are looking for something specific, it's like, what am I supposed to use? So that's really neat to know.
Yeah, good to know. And there's always, like, it seems there's more than one way to get to something. So it's just nice to know a couple of, where these things are.
Sure.
Yeah, so then down here, again, we have the creating a design option. And this one is laid out a little bit different. You've got recommended, social media, events, marketing, documents, prints. So you can read all that. And then you can also go to your side toolbar here and just bring that down. And you'll notice that right here, there's an arrow. So each one of these has multiple options. So in social media, for example, if you click over here, it gives you the option of Instagram post, Instagram story, animated social media, Facebook posts. But if you click on this little arrow, it buzzes over and it gives you a whole nother group of things to consider. And again, and see all. So as you can see, there's lots of ways, and even that can be a little bit overwhelming, just the getting started. So take a deep breath. If that's been at all, if that's gotten you at all like overwhelmed, just pause and take a breath. And yes. So Facebook post. Again, there's 3 ways of doing it. So let's start with this number 1. I can come up here and say, I can either scroll through it and find my Facebook post here, or of course I could just type it into the search bar. So sure, let's go ahead and click on Facebook post. Okay. And like I said, today we're going to keep it really basic and simple. So as I was saying before with the templates, you can look through templates using this little sidebar here. There's a search templates, and you can search through templates. But as you can see, it's a lot harder because they're smaller, right?
We're not seeing that picture right now. It just is stuck on the Facebook post and nothing else has changed on our visual here. So
okay.
So let's try
Oh,
that.
I bet you I know why. Okay, so I need to go into StreamYard and share my screen on this untitled
Oh,
design.
no, just click on your other tab. You don't have to reshare again. Just move to the next thing that you want to show us if it opened up a new tab.
It did open up a new tab, and I'm on it. I can see it. Yeah, I'm on it. But I think I have to let StreamYard share that screen because it's a different, it brings up a different screen when you start to do a design.
Okay, on mine, and they're all different. I can just go from tab to tab and it'll bring up what I'm showing. I don't have to come back in and reshare, but try it because you have a Mac and I don't. So there's a good chance that might be what's happening.
Yeah. There we go. Untitled design. I'm going to share that. And we should be in now.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Now we're there?
We are.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Carla. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying was that second way of searching, I like it to be able to see a large number of templates because I find it a little constricted to start looking through templates in this little sidebar on the side. However, that is an option. So there are a bunch of templates available here as well. But today we are just going to be focusing on text. So in order to do that, I'm going to first just select a background. So just so we're not looking at a white screen, because that's a little bit boring. So I'm just going to go into my backgrounds here. And I looked at one earlier that I thought would be fun just to liven things up. We're going to choose this nice bold rainbow one. And then we will click on our text. Here we go. So again, you have the option of having a look at already created things that you can get a sense of how different fonts look together. And that's kind of nice as an option.
So what happens when you click on one of those? Does it pop directly into your photo?
It does. So I'll go ahead and do that. There it is.
Cool.
And it shows up right there. Now, you can still go in and click on this top text, and it'll tell you what kind of font it is. And you do have the option of then going in and changing that font. So if you like the general look of it, but one of the fonts is not quite to your liking, you do have the option of going in and changing them completely. And if you want to get rid of that, all you have to do is hit delete. And if you want the whole box to go, you just click on the whole box and go ahead and click delete. Oh, now it's gotten rid of everything. Okay, background. There we go. We're putting our background back up. Okay, here we go. So text. Now what happened was I clicked on the background and hit delete. So we just want to get rid of that text box. So today we're not going to be using a template. I would just like to show you some really basic things. So over here, you can see the add a headline, add a subheading, or add a little bit of body and text. It really doesn't matter which one of these you choose. They are all completely adjustable in terms of size. They have these three options. They're kind of like a starting point. Like, are you just wanting something small? Are you wanting something medium size? Or are you wanting something large? This is just why that there are these three here. It's just kind of, again, to give you a starting point. So because we're going to be doing just a really simple one, I'm going to go ahead and choose add a heading because it gives me a nice big one to work with. So once it's appeared on your design screen here, there's a few ways to go about it from this place. So what I'd like to do is, since our text box is now what's highlighted, you can see that up top here, we now have our toolbar. Whoops, there we go. So did you see the toolbar that it was?
Yes.
This toolbar here is in regards to a photo. So this is my background that it's talking about right now. So again, I'm going to click, there we go. And you can see how the text box now has changed, and now our toolbar up here has changed. So what I'd like to do is just go through this toolbar with folks so that you can get an idea of how to manipulate your text. So we're going to start out with this first one, which is choosing your font kind. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. If you know the kind of font that you like to use, of course, you can go ahead and type it in here. This box here shows you which one you're on. This checkbox tells you which font you're currently using. And then you can use this drag down to look through them. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to this nice little crown here. These ones are premium ones, so that you can do like the Canva Pro. So if you pay, you have access to a larger selection of fonts. But there are ample fonts to use at the free level. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one because it's going to be a good one for demonstrating some other cool stuff. So I'm going to click on Anton, and it's going to take a second, and then it's going to change my font to that. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole text box. And you can delete it, or you can just type over it. Once it's highlighted like that, you can go ahead and type in your message. I used to always delete it, and then I realized that I didn't have to. You just simply highlight the text box and you can start typing. So I'm just going to type the words, thank you, like that. Now, if I want this to be bigger, there's a couple ways, there's two different ways to go about it. I can come over here to my number chart, my sizing chart, and you can see it goes up to 144. Well, let's just see what that does. Okay, that's nice and big. I think I'll go a little bit smaller, maybe somewhere around this range. Another way to do this, if I go, yeah, that's nice, but I kind of want it a bit bigger and I don't know what number to use, well, that's okay, because you can grab any of these corners and go ahead and drag that box. Now, I like to draw your attention to the little black box that appeared, and where it says, it tells you the width and the height of your font. So that's a really good thing just to make note of if you are going to be creating something larger with a lot of different text, and you just want to make a note of what size it is, so that you can, for consistency's sake. So just drawing your attention to that little black box, and that's what that is, the width and the height of your text. So you can go ahead and make it as big as you'd like, and then you can move it around to wherever you want it. Okay, the next box over is our text color. Text color, we're going to go ahead and click on that. It, as you can just see here, just take a minute to look through this. It gives me here all of the different photo colors. So it'll pull out a palette for me based on the colors that I'm using in the photo, which is a nice option. It also gives you, you know, a nice little palette to choose from. But if you don't care for any of those, you can go ahead and click in this one to make a new color. And I'd also like to draw your attention to up here, this search box. And in here it says, try blue, so using a word, or this is where you can enter a specific color code. So every shade of color has a color code to it. And this is handy to know if you're creating a brand. Of course, you're going to want to have a consistent color that you're using all the time. And if you're like, well, what the heck is a color code and where do I get a color code? Well, I'm going to show you. So if you come over here to this box that says new color and you click on it, once you've clicked on it, you can see right down here, there's like a hashtag and then some, right now it's a bunch of letter Fs. But if I take this little wheel, this little circle here, and I drag it around, you'll notice, do you see how that code is now changing? So every shade of color that I am going on has a specific thing. And you can also see that my text in the design is changing based on this. Now, to get out of reds, you simply go down to this bar here, and you're like, I want to explore, let's say, oh, that looked nice. Let's explore this range of colors. So you can go in here then and you can drag this around to the darkest all the way up to the lightest and brightest here. So you can really play around with getting the exact shade you want. And if you find something you really, really like, I suggest that you come down here, copy this, and copy it into a little note for yourself somewhere else. You know, a favorite font colors or favorite colors. Because what you can do later is, I'm going to cut this one for now, or I'm going to copy that color for now. So let's say I am on black and I know that I really like that color that I saved. I can come up into this box here and I can just paste that color into the box and it will give me the color that I wanted. Then it also gives me a whole bunch of other palettes, palette ideas to choose from, which is kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's some basic, like, wow, there's a lot you can do just with color in the text.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along. So text color, that's a fun one to play with, and it'll always show you what color you're on underneath here. So now if we move over, this particular font does not give me the option to do a bold. Some of the texts do, in which case, you know, you can click back and forth with that. Of course, italics, we all know kind of what that is. You do have the option of highlighting one of the words and choosing that one to put in italics, so you don't have to do all of your, you know, it doesn't do the whole block.
Now, are you able to change the colors in one block to have one in one color and one in another?
Well, let's see. Indeed, you can.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of variation, a lot of functionality just within one text box.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of choices. So
because some other programs, I don't know that you have to just do everything sort of the same size, same color, all within one text box, or else create two separate ones. So that's a really nice feature.
Yeah, it is for sure. Okay, so the italics, pretty straightforward. And okay, so before we go on to this next area, I'm going to break this up onto 2 lines. So I'm just going to put my cursor there and I'm going to hit return. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this whole box a little bit bigger to give myself some more space. And you're going to see why in a little bit here. So as we mentioned before too, when you have this, if you want to move your text box, you have to actually grab onto the edge of it. So it changes from an arrow to this little guy here. You can see that difference, I think.
Yep.
And then that's what allows you. So if you're having trouble and you don't know how to move this box around, that's basically how you do it. You have to get your arrow onto one of the edges until it turns into that so that you can grab the whole box. The whole box still can be shrunk down and made bigger. And then this side one, of course, this is just going to pull our box and give us some more space to work with if we do want to do some different things with our font. So now I can come over to this box here, which is our alignment, and that's pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to undo that. Okay. Stretch out my whole box again. And I'm going to highlight my text, and now I can move it around wherever I want to in the box. I can move it to the right. I can move it to the left, to the right, or I can center it.
So just like in a regular document.
Just like in a regular document. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then moving over to, whoops, going to click in that again. So next one over is we have the ability to create lists. And there's actually more than one kind of list you can do. You can do dots like this, or it also gives you the option of doing a numbered list.
Okay. So
that's just another feature to be aware of. Clicking off of it returns it back to normal. Now my favorite part is what's behind these 3 mystery dots. So we're going to click on more. More, very straightforward. We have the underline option, of course.
Oh.
Yeah. This one here is really handy. This one converts your text to all uppercase. So if you type something out and you think, oh, I should have done that all in capitals, you do not have to delete the whole thing, erase the whole thing, and retype the whole thing. All you need to do is use this handy little button. And if you click on it, it will instantly change your font to all capitals.
Oh, I did not know about that one. That's a good tool.
This is the gold mine. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, this might be the one like big, oh my God, it was worth the training just for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of times when we're designing things that, you know, we're doing it as we go and we're playing around. And so this is a really handy tool to be able to go, geez, do I even like it in capitals? Or like, what would it look like? It gives you the option to look at it really quick and decide, you know, to make that choice. So that's really cool.
That is cool.
So I'm going to leave this in capitals now, and we're going to move over to spacing. This is my other very, very most favorite tool. So I don't know, Carla, have you played around with spacing?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, you're going to be in for a treat here. Okay, so when you click on spacing, it gives you, you can space your letters. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click out of this just for a second, and I'm going to move this down just so you can all see what I'm doing here a little bit better. Okay, so again, the 3 dots, and then I click on this one, which tells me it's spacing. Now for this one, I want you to watch what happens when I choose the letter slide bar, and magically, look at that. Yeah. Now you can squish it all together. And if you look over here, it's going to give you a number as well. So that's something that throughout your document, once you get designing, if you're adding a lot of things and you kind of like the look of something, you can just make a note of what it's set at. Like, oh yeah, my letters are at -8. And yeah, so for now, I'm going to highlight the whole thing because I want to do spacing on the whole. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong thing here. There we go. The letters. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to space my letters out to where I like them. But you know what? I would like them to be a little bit closer together. So this is where you can change your line spacing. So this is just a fun thing to play with. Because it's really nice to have the ability to make these kind of decisions. So this is why I made the text box bigger, was because if this box, if I had left it the original size, it would have done that, right?
Okay.
So if you're going to want, which is fine, but if you get to this and you're like, oh, it doesn't fit, well, you have to come to this box and you have to make your playing area bigger.
Very good point.
Yeah. And it's easier to do that to start with, but you can do it the other way too. So again, the line height and the letter height, or the letter spacing. So these are, and you can see how far you can go with it, but these are really nice, fun things to use. Okay, the next one is apply a link. So this is a new one for me. I haven't seen this one before, but I'm guessing that I could write down here, click here. I could make a little box and I could say, click here to go to my website. And then I could enter a link so that when people click on that, the link would be embedded in the document. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
that's a really
kind of like a PowerPoint presentation or something where you can just hyperlink to a video or your website, like you said, whatever you like. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So locking and unlocking. Locking just means that you're not going to accidentally change it. So this is to help yourself. If you get it to where you really like it, you can go ahead and lock that in. So now you won't be able to accidentally do anything to that unless you've come back in. Okay, now I want to let me go. Oh yeah, because my lock is on. So I'm going to unlock it. That's right. They've changed it since I've used it, but basically that's a nice feature. So you can lock your design, and that way you can go ahead and start doing some other things, but your your font will be locked in kind of thing.
Oh, okay, that is good. Because sometimes I get moving one thing and I accidentally grab my font box and off it goes. And then I'm like, oh, thank God for the undo button.
Exactly. So this is kind of like gluing it in place. Like when you're sure, like you got it how you want it, you just want to go ahead and lock that. And you can always go and unlock it. It's a very easy thing to do.
Cool.
So I'm going to unlock it. And I would like to show you a couple more things. So we're just going to keep moving along this toolbar. I'm just going to check the time. So we're at 11:30. So we've already been half an hour. So this is a lot of attention to give to something. But we're almost through this whole top toolbar. And once you understand this toolbar and what it can do, then the sky's the limit, because now you can go into any of the templates and you know what you can do to manipulate them. So exciting stuff, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. This has been very good label.
Okay, so the next button on this toolbar is position. And that is pretty straightforward as well. There is something on here that we're going to come back to later. Right now, you see this word forward and backward. We're going to go through that in a second. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through these different. So it's aligning to page. I'm just going to show you what they look like. So the top, middle, bottom, pretty self-explanatory, but aligning the text box up to the left. Now, if I like want this whole thing over on the left, remember that we had this alignment here where the whole box, that's where you can change your alignment. So this is the alignment of the box, and this is the alignment of the text itself, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. So centering it, text box to the right. So you can see the whole box itself is being aligned to these different positions.
Right.
So
whereas the other one, it's just the words that are moving around.
Exactly. If I click on alignment, now I can go to, So the words are moving within the text box, and the other one is aligning the text box itself.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So last but not least for our training here is we're going to go into how to, if I want my text to stand out more, first thing I'm going to do here is just to make this a little bit easier to work with. I'm going to go ahead and just change this back to a little bit smaller, a little bit of a smaller font. I'm going to go back to that 88. Oops. And change the whole thing back to, change the whole thing back to 88. Okay, there we go. Now, if I want to have this text stand out a little bit more and not be distracted by the background, I might want to choose to put it in a box, give the text itself a background. And so something to stand against to separate it from that background color. The way to do that is to go into your elements, which is right above the text box over here on the left-hand side of our screen. I'm going to go ahead and click on elements. The easiest way to do this for text is to just click in the search bar shapes. What will come up, of course, is a whole variety of shapes to choose from. Right now, the shapes all look gray, but you can change the color of any of these shapes. So right now, don't worry about that they're not colored, because that's something you can choose down the road. But you can choose any one of these shapes to basically put your words, to put your words on. And so for today, let's just go ahead and choose this one. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to center it using that tool there. And now I'm going to come up and I'm going to change the color of it. I don't really like that boring gray isn't really doing much for me. So maybe I want, yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with the blue. Now, as you can see, my shape is over top of my text, and I want my text to be over top of my shape. So how do we resolve that? Well, you can't just grab your text. You can grab your text and move it, but it's still behind. And if you like that look, that's great. But if you want your text to be in front and you want this thing to be behind, so now we're working with some different layers, and this is where we can come up here and go to position. Now you can see that instead of these ones were both faded out before, and now this forward one is giving me the option. So if I click forward, you can see what happened to my text. My text came forward. So now this text box is what I'm working with. So I'm back to working with this particular text box.
That's way easier than deleting it, getting a new text box, starting all over on top of my...
Yes, does that help you?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where it's like, oh, great. Now if I go, but how do I get back to this one? Well, because it's bigger, you can click on it. But sometimes if things are the same size, right? If you're working with things and they're the exact same size, well, how do you click on it? How do you grab it?
Right.
Like if I were to, for example, okay, let's go ahead and...
Like say you didn't like the color of the background of that box. Yeah,
and let's say this one was the same size as that and I couldn't grab it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like, so I still can. I can still grab on these two different text boxes and manipulate them. But if I want to work on that one, I can go position, forward, and now it's in the foreground. And
so you're just switching them back and forth depending on which one you want to work with.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can also click onto the background. So where did my position option go? Oh, yeah, that's keeping it separate. So that's fine. Yeah. So these are just the two elements that I'm working with. And you can have, more than one element or more than two elements that you're working with. You can have several. So you'll get, sometimes you're clicking back 3 times and sending it to the back, and bringing it forward.
Too, if you get playing around with this, you can't break anything. You always have your undo button. Just go back to undo. If you go, oh my God, what did I do? Undo. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that comfort because it gives me the freedom to play with it and kind of experiment and not having to worry about losing all of my work potentially.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my text, send that one to the back and be working with my text box again. And from here, we're going to look at one more option in this toolbar for today. And then I think we might wrap it up. Yeah. So the last one on this toolbar is transparency. And transparency is fun to play with because watch the text, because this is what we're in, is the text box. And if you watch the text box, you can fade things in and out. So I can put this one to its full brightness. Maybe I want to fade the box behind it. So again, clicking on that, I'm going to fade my box out so it's barely visible, but yet it's still creating a little bit of a different area.
Yeah, I love that feature because if you have a great picture in and behind, but you don't want to lose it all with your text box, being able to fade like that is I've really enjoyed that tool. I love that one.
Yeah, me too. This is the last one on this toolbar is the duplicate tool. And duplication is really fun when you think you've got it how you like it, but you're not sure. And if you want to play around a little bit more, the best thing to do, I would recommend, if you get it to a place that you like, go ahead and click the duplicate button. Oh, yeah, no. I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry, Carla. I'm going to delete that text box. I think I did this the last time too.
There you go.
Copy the page. That's what I meant to do. Yeah, so once you get it to a place that you like, I would recommend that you copy the page, and then you can continue mucking around and playing without the risk of losing the place that you got to that you were happy with.
Right.
So that's, yeah. So, because that can limit us too. Like we get into these little fear corners where we're like, oh, I don't know. Like I think that's good, but I'm not sure. You know what? Give yourself the freedom of making another page and playing around and then looking at those 3 and then deciding which of those 3 do I really like after you've played around with them. And, you know, easy enough. Don't like it? Get rid of it.
Well, and the nice thing too is, do you want to just run through the download when you have multiple pages like that? Because it gives you the option to download both of them or to specifically choose one. So if you go, okay, well, great, now how do I get it?
Okay, for sure. Okay, so let me go ahead and copy the page. And let's say this one, I'm going to choose even just, let's say, a different font color. Okay, so let's say I've got these 2 options and 2 different fonts. If you look here, it says page 1, and this one is page 2. So when you go to download, I guess we can go through this a little bit too.
Yeah, we did a little bit on the first training. Yeah, just a quick run through and then we'll...
Yeah. So let's say we're just going to do it as a JPEG image. I want you to come on down to here where it says select pages. You can download both of them, but sometimes what it'll do is it'll put them into a zip folder and then you have to like unpack them. So if you just wanted to download them individually, maybe you want to do it as a zip file that they're all lumped together, but I personally have never gone that route. I always like to use them. I always end up using them separately. So this is where you can download them one at a time. So today I just want the one with the blue lettering and not the white. Maybe another day I'd like the white one. So I'm just going to go ahead and click page 1 and I'm just going to click done. And then I'm just going to simply download page 1. Or you can change that to page 2, which is the same, and then unclick. There we go. So now I'm just going to be downloading my page 2.
Yeah, that's a really great option to do that. I did that a few times and I'm like, how come it's showing up in this weird file? And I'm like, oh yes, I never selected the actual page. I was downloading the whole 2 pages or 4 pages or whatever I had going on that I was playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's great. That really takes us through the basics and then some of, you know, what we can do with text, how we find text that we can use, the caps to small. That to me is going to be a huge lifesaver for me. Something I didn't know about, and the spacing. So many great tips and tools that you shared with us today. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I just want to. And there's this one that I forgot is you can always change the angle. So I'm just going to say thank you. At the bottom of your text box here, there's a little wheel with the arrows.
And then you click on it and hold it to spin it?
You click on it and hold it. And then you can just click and drag to whichever angle you want it at.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So next time, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to come back on again, and you are going to teach us more about what we can do with photos. Give us a little more in-depth tour into Canva and help us out with where we can find photos, how to bring them in, and a whole bunch more.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. So if you guys don't already have a Canva account, you can get a free account at canva.com. And I've been playing around this week. I was away from my office and playing with my Canva app on my phone as well. So you can download it to your phone. It may operate a little bit differently. There's some different nuances in there, but a lot of the same, and well worth checking out for sure. So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks again, Jade, for all those wonderful tips, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope that gives you a really good foundation for getting started and having some fun and playing, and I look forward to showing you what you can do with photos. So until next time.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Bye.